Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday and welcome to the Beyond Your Wildest Dreams live video cast, which will then become the Harness the Power of Planning podcast. This will be episode 127. My name is Allegra, and I'm so excited for you to be here today. So, thank you for joining me. If you are joining me live, feel free to chat wherever you are watching. I will see that. And if you are watching the podcast or the recording, you can also leave a comment. I do see those, sometimes not quickly, but I do see them, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have. Today's topic is all about coming up with a fun and less stressful holiday plan. It's a little bit of what was written about in the book Rock Your Holidays that we came out with a couple years ago. And so this is kind of the short version. If you do want to get the book, you can always find our books at tinyurl.com/BYWD books. And if you are joining me for the first time, welcome. Thank you for being here. My name is Allegra. I am a brain science-based productivity and time management trainer, author, and podcaster. What does that mean? It means that I help you understand how to be not just more efficient, but also more effective. A lot of times I'm telling people what not to do as much as I'm telling them what to do, because the secret to productivity is not to do more. The secret of productivity is to prioritize things so that you're spending your time on the things that actually matter. In our busy world, it's very easy for urgent things to push aside important things. Now, maybe in your mind, you think urgent and important are the same thing, but are they? Urgent are all those things that have, deadlines, or maybe someone is coming to you with an emergency. I need you to do this thing for me. Important things are the things that are going to move you forward in your goals. And it is so easy to allow the urgent things to take up all your time, and then your important things never happen. And so really, as a productivity trainer, what I am really helping people do is to get really clear about what's important to you so you can focus on that. And that is what today's topic is going to be: what's important to you in the holidays. So again, a little background on me. I am an author of these 4 books. I call them my bouquet of books. Aren't they lovely? And they are all about productivity, time management, and life design. Maybe that's a new term for you. But again, life design is just about prioritizing what's important to you so you can live a life that is by design rather than by accident. So today's topic is the holiday plan. And as I've been trying to do, I want to let you know what the next 2 weeks' topics are so you can plan ahead. Next week, I'm going to be talking about eating repetitively to make things easier for you. I could say save time, ensure healthy eating, whatever. Okay, but just to make things easier for you, I eat very repetitively. If you've joined me before on my podcast, then you have seen my green tea and hibiscus drink that I drink. Almost every morning is the same thing. I have warm lemon water, and while I'm drinking my warm lemon water, I also make my hibiscus green tea drink, and then I also make a chia protein shake, and I drink those. That's basically the first half of my morning. And I eat pretty repetitively because I have found that just makes it really easy for me to make sure that, 1, I'm eating things I like, and 2, I'm eating things that are good for me. So that is next week. And then the week after that, I'm going to get a little more granular about Thanksgiving. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, if you host a family event or a friend event, then there's a lot that goes into that. And so I'm going to get a little more granular about that in 2 weeks. And by the way, in November, I'm really excited to have with me a friend of mine, another trainer who specializes in flow, Diane Allen. She's going to be joining me on November 13th. So be sure to tune in for that. And as always, I'm going to pull a card from my little deck of sayings here, and let's see what the deck has to say for me today. I never peek. I don't know what's coming. Oh, it's upside down. The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Paulo Coelho. Well, it's interesting because I'm often pulling quotes of people I don't know, but I do know Paulo Coelho. He is the author of The Alchemist. The simple things are also the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Absolutely. I absolutely agree with this. When my husband and I first moved in together, I remember we were carving pumpkins it was this time of year. So we were carving pumpkins for Halloween, and we were just home alone, carving pumpkins. And I looked to him and I said, I am having so much fun right now as I'm carving this pumpkin with you. And he kind of, you know, he was like, "Oh, thanks." He was kind of caught off guard by the amount of emotion I was feeling about that moment. And it was that moment that allowed me to realize, like, hey, if I can find joy in my husband and I carving pumpkins together. And by the way, the rest of the house was a mess. We bought a house that had been a rental for 20 years before, but hey, it was affordable. So that was good. So the house was a mess. So imagine no landscaping. It was just dirt. In fact, that Halloween, we turned our front yard into a graveyard because it was so easy to do. It was just mounds of dirt. So the house was a mess. There was no landscaping. It hadn't been painted. There's so many things that needed to be done. I'm not sure if we did any landscaping in the back, but it was funny because we did it all ourselves and we did a little bit at a time. And when we landscaped the first area, which was, I don't know, maybe 10 feet long and 3 feet wide, it's a really narrow little strip. We would literally put our chairs just to face that one area because the rest of the backyard was such a mess. So everything's a mess. We're carving pumpkins. I'm so happy. And it made me realize that we were going to make it because if I could find this much joy in doing something this simple, then we were going to have really fun times in store for us as well. And it doesn't always have to be with someone else either. This was a big aha moment for me. When my father passed, I found a uh, nail organizer. It's like one of those blue metal things that you can hang up on the wall, and it has all these little clear trays. And it was brand new. It had never been used. And I thought to myself, you know what? I'm going to take this home because we have enough random bolts and screws and nails lying around that I could probably fill this thing up. And so I gathered all of the different, odds and ends where everything was located. There was some stuff in the garage, some stuff above the laundry room, some stuff in the miscellaneous drawer. I refuse to call it the junk drawer because everything in there is useful, right? So the miscellaneous drawer. So I grabbed all the places where screws and nails and bolts were hanging out. And I put them on our dining table, and I put on my earbuds and I listened to an audiobook, and I had a Zevia cola. Those are stevia colas. I really like Zevias. So I had my Zevia, I had an audiobook, and I just started sorting. And it was completely joyful. I think it took me about 3 hours to do it. Let me tell you, that sorter organizer thingy has saved me so much time. I never have to go searching for a screw or a nut or a bolt or whatever. I know exactly where they are. It has saved me so much money. It has also saved me so much time in terms of having to run to the hardware store to pick up something. It is fantastic. And I'm actually, if you've listened to me before, you know I'm a huge fan of Buy Nothing. I've also put this thing on the Buy Nothing. Like, hey, if you need a screw, a bolt, a nail, I probably have it. So let me know. Don't go running to the hardware store. So it's been an amazing thing. But what that experience taught me was that when you live your values, anything can be fun. I have these values around being conservative with resources, all resources, material resources, natural resources like the metal, the resource of time. I enjoy being effective with my resources. And because that exercise, that sorting exercise, was such an example of living my values, I found joy in it. And I continue to find joy in it. Actually, we've been working on a really big project, and I've had to take this sorter around with me while we've been doing it. I feel joy every time I see that little organizer. So, yes, Paulo Coelho, the simple things are the most extraordinary things, and only the wise can see them. Well, I appreciate being called wise by none other than Paulo Coelho, but I totally agree. The simple things are the most important things. You know, a sunrise, a laugh with a loved one, and sorting hardware into its proper place. Okay. Well, thank you for joining me. And today, as I mentioned, we're going to talk about how to come up with a fun and stress-free holiday plan. And so this is kind of the basis of this book, Rock Your Holidays. By the way, all of my books are workbooks because the brain science shows that you learn better when you are doing and not just passively consuming information. So I have you do exercises in these books, and you see they're all really small. They're all designed to be read in an hour or less. So you can get this done really quickly, but let me get you started on the journey. The first step towards having a less stressful holiday season is for you to know what is your goal for the holiday season. Is your goal fancy parties, dressing up? Is it seeing the snow if you live somewhere without snow? Or is it going to a tropical vacation if you live somewhere where there is snow? Is your goal to bake all those new cookies you've heard about in that cookbook that you've had sitting on your shelf? Do you want to make progress on a project you've been working on? Maybe something you've been painting or something you've been knitting. Whatever it is, you need to write down what that goal is. And if you've taken my advice before, then you have this amazing planner. This is my planner. Actually, this is 2026. That's why it's so small. 2025 is right in front of me. And 2025 is a little bit of a behemoth by now because I put a lot of things in my planner as the year goes by. So it's easier for me to hold up 2026. Write it in here. Don't just write it on a scrap of paper that you're going to lose. This is important information. So go to some blank page. There's blank pages in the back. There's also blank pages behind each month. So you could go to the month of October, go to the back of that and write down, I want this holiday season to be blank. Write it in. Think about the things you want to do. Think about the feelings you want to have. Think about the people you want to see. That's the first step. You can't have what you can't name. So you have to create a goal for yourself. The next step is then just a little bit of a brain dump. And again, do this all in the planner. And if you don't have this planner, let's see, you can go to this URL. It's tinyurl.com/shop BYWD, and you will see a link for this planner. Oh, wait, there's another way for me to do this. Well, for those listening to the podcast, you can't, but tinyurl.com/shop BYWD. There is also this QR code right here over my shoulder. Click here and you will go to where this planner is. Okay, so write down in the planner, you're going to do a little bit of a brain dump, maybe set a timer for 2 minutes or 3 minutes, and just write down all the things you want to do this holiday season. It doesn't need to make sense. In fact, don't think about it. Just vomit onto the page. That has always been, I have found, the best way to do any kind of writing, because your brainstorming part of your brain and the judgmental part of your brain, they work at odds with each other. So when I'm writing these books, I vomit first And then I go back and I edit and judge. If you try and write and edit at the same time, I have found it doesn't work for me. Maybe you're different, but I found it doesn't work for me. It's like the two parts of my brain are at war. So don't judge, just write all the things you want to do. Bake those snowball cookies that I've been hearing so much about. Go to Disneyland. See the Nutcracker. Visit a friend that I haven't seen in a long time. Volunteer at the local nursing home. Whatever, all the things that you want to do. Do a dance class. Do a historical dance class. I'm a huge fan of historical dance. All the things, write them down. It doesn't matter if it's for October, November, December, January. For some people, your holiday season might stretch into March, which is when the Persian New Year is, or January, which is when the Day of the Kings is, or maybe it stretches into, Shrove Tuesday. Go ahead, write it all down. Once you're done writing it all down, then you can go back and organize it into months. Like it's going to happen October or November or December. And what I want you to do is once it's organized into the months, I want you to put a number 1, 2, or 3 next to each item. Number 1 means this absolutely has to happen. Super important to me. So this is prioritizing, right? I've said it's so important to prioritize. Number 1 is this is super important. I have to do this. Number 2 is this would be nice to do. Number 3 is I would enjoy this, but it doesn't have to happen. Or number 3s could also be something that doesn't have to happen every year. For instance, my family does enjoy going to Disneyland when it's all decorated for the winter season. However, it's not something we have to do every year because it's a big thing. It takes a lot of planning. And so it's not something we have to do every year. Same with going to see the Nutcracker. We've also decorated floats for the Rose Parade. Again, it's super fun. We love doing it, but we don't have to do it every year. So that's number 3. Now, don't feel analysis paralysis about this 1, 2, and 3. I think the 1s and the 3s are probably the easiest. It's the 2 that kind of is the hardest. Just write whatever you feel at the moment. The reality is you're going to go back and change things. Nothing is set in stone. So know that. Know that nothing is set in stone. Maybe use a pencil to remind yourself as you're doing these exercises. Nothing is set in stone. You can always go back. Can prioritize what is long brainstorming list that you just went through and number everything a 1, a 2, or a 3. Next, you're going to look at how many things did you write 1, 2, or 3 next to. If everything's a 1, you're going to have to do some hard thinking because you didn't actually prioritize. So this is where it's really helpful to go back to the first thing you did, which was come up with your vision, your goal, your mission statement for the holidays. Go back to that and see what supports that. For instance, maybe you wrote your goal is to just have a lot of you time. You just want to sit by the fire and read. Okay. But then under all the things that you've wanted to do, you have all of these active things that require you leaving the house and making plans and getting dressed up. Well, those 2 things are not aligning with each other. So what I would do is I would ask you to ask yourself, are you shoulding on yourself? A lot of times we have these intentions, we set these goals for ourselves, but then we allow the world to creep in and set our priorities for us. We see a commercial for Disneyland. Okay, let's just say we see a commercial for Disneyland and suddenly we're like, oh my gosh, I should go to Disneyland. Notice I said the word should. You don't should Disneyland. Disneyland should be something you want to do. This was something that I learned when I was in college because I thought I should go to fraternity parties. I went to one. I didn't enjoy myself. And I said, why would I spend my weekend nights like that if I'm not enjoying it? It was very clear to me this was not something I had to do. And it was just so unpleasant. I didn't feel pressured to keep doing it. So don't feel pressured by other people's expectations. That's the beauty of setting a goal and a mission for your holiday season is you can keep going back to them and say, no, this is what my heart desires. My heart desires fireplace and books and tea and cookies. Okay, maybe I'm just projecting because that sounds really really fantastic to me. Okay. But whatever it is, it's your heart desire. Remember that. Go back to that. Okay. So now that we've done that, look back on these lists that you've created for things that you want to do. And let's do those 1, 2, 3s again, because maybe you need to rejigger them. They should be whatever you're choosing as a 1 should really be in alignment with your mission, your goal. And if you're saying to yourself, you know what? I did write that I want to be by the fireplace and eat cookies and drink tea, but I do really want to go see the lights at Descanso Gardens. Okay, well, add that to your goal. Say, mostly I want to sit by the fireplace and read, but I would like to do a couple of seasonal events. I always put for my holiday plan, I'd like to do one party. I like to attend one big event, but that's it. More than one big event, and I start to feel anxious. So it's fine to go back and revise your goal and your vision. It's all about having a little more clarity about what's important to you so that you know how to say no when the time comes. Okay. So the great thing about doing all of this now, when you're not in the middle of the holiday season, is that once you start getting invitations or hearing about things, you'll feel pressured to say yes. Yes, 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 yes. By doing this now, before that pressure, you're able to sit with yourself and be really clear about what's important to you. Now, take all of those ones and put them in your planner. Okay? So for instance, if you want to go see the Nutcracker, find the Nutcracker in your area, see if you can get a ticket, and if you get that ticket, put it in your planner. If you've decided you want to go volunteer on a certain number of times during the holiday season, call your local nonprofit or organization you want to volunteer with. See when you can do that. Put it in your planner. Put your ones in your planner, always in pencil. If you've taken any of my classes, then you know I'm all about writing meetings and events in pencil in my monthly planner page, which again, if you go to tinyurl.com/shop BYWD, you'll see that I believe in planners that have monthly pages, which is a 2-page spread. And then they also have weekly pages, which is a 2-page spread for 1 week. So you have 5 weeks worth of weekly pages, and then you have the monthly page. I always write my events and meetings on the monthly page in pencil because things change. So write down all of your ones. And then you might look at your 2s and think, I have enough things happening for the holidays. I don't even need to do these 2s or 3s. Fantastic. That's what this exercise is all about. It's all about giving yourself permission to prioritize the things that are important to you and to recognize, these other things aren't that important to me. Or you know what? I'm going to do these other things next year. That is totally fine. The final step of this whole process is to adjust as the holiday season is coming. Things are going to pop up that were unexpected, opportunities that you didn't know about. For instance, I just had this happen. It's not a holiday event, but we were offered this really cool opportunity and we couldn't register for it because it required in-person registration and we weren't given a lot of notice. However, they allowed us to be put on the wait list, and we just found out that we got admitted to it, and we were only given about 8 days notice. However, this was something that we absolutely wanted to do. That's why we put it on the wait list. So we are rejiggering things to figure out how to make this work. That is fine. If there's something that you're like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could do that. That would be so amazing." It just wasn't, we weren't able to register in time. Those kind of things are going to happen. Give yourself permission to adjust your plan as it comes up. Okay? Your goal, your mission, that's an important starting point to help you think about the season. But if you get some really cool opportunity, give yourself permission to say yes. Also, if you are getting offered way more, for me, like big parties that you're not interested in going to, also give yourself permission to say no. You're going to have to adjust. The holiday season is a bit of a marathon. And again, some of us, it's a longer marathon than others. So you're going to have to adjust as time goes on. But remember, keep fun things fun. This is why this is on. We have these ornaments on the cover and of the book Rock Your Holidays, and they say, "Do more of what you enjoy. Don't shoot on yourself. Skip things not aligned with your values. Get family buy-in and help. Do more of what you enjoy. Keep up with self-care," right? Do not allow your eating and your exercise and your meditation, whatever you do for self-care, don't suspend that during the holidays. Those are the non-negotiables. You need to do those year round. So, but the final one, the one in the middle, is keep fun. Okay? The holidays are supposed to be a time of joy. If it's not joyful, consider not doing it. It's that simple and it's that difficult. Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been my pleasure to be here. And as I mentioned, next week, I'm going to be talking about the benefits of eating repetitively and how to eat repetitively in order to ensure that you are getting your nutrition while also easing your stress. I find it so much easier to eat repetitively, and it saves me a lot of time too. The more that you can habitualize, so turn things into habits, the more you can habitualize good things, I find the easier life is because it saves you mental energy, it saves you time energy. I save a lot of time grocery shopping because I eat habitually. So I know what I have to get every week. So that is going to be next week. And the week after that, I'm going to get a lot more granular about a Thanksgiving plan because I definitely have thoughts about planning for Thanksgiving, one of which is 3 grocery shopping trips starting as early as a week beforehand. Yes, that's right. And in November 13th, join me for my friend Diane Allen. She is the author of a book on flow. I have actually mentioned her a couple of times in my podcast. And so I thought I should just have Diane on the show. So join me for that on November 13th. And as always, be sure to like and subscribe and rate wherever you are listening. It helps me to know that you appreciate this. And it also helps me to know what content you're liking. And it costs you nothing. So I would appreciate that. And remember, planning makes everything easier.